So as a result of being dragged up on the dock too many times and a couple of trailering accidents, I ended up with some pretty deep scratches right on the bottom of the boat near the daggerboard slot and this baler. And you can see that I've patched them here, but how did I get that nice, smooth, slightly miscolored patch? Well, the first thing you've got to do with any gel coat repair is to make sure that you have no wax left over from some previous attempt to make the boat look good. So what I end up using is acetone and one of these microfiber towels, and you have to go over it a number of times. You can go right in the particular area and get the wax out of it, and then you have to turn the cloth over, dampen it with fresh acetone, and go back over it again. It's important to do this several times so that there's no trace of wax. Also, if you have a scratch that's fairly deep, but it has sort of some debris in it that's left over from kind of broken pieces of fiberglass, you can take something like a can opener and actually scratch out the scratch and make it a cleaner, deeper scratch, because you're going to be filling it anyway. Then, to make sure that you're not going to get gel coat all over the place, you can use the fine line tape. Now this stuff is really reasonably stretchy and it's got a very sharp edge. So I can put it on either side of my injury. Like that, and do it on the other side, so I mask where the gel coat's going to go. Then when I lay a bead of gel coat in there, I can let it set up for a little while, tear off the tape, and I've got a much flatter, more localized place to sand. Well, now let's take a look at what the gel coat paste actually looks like. Inside the can, as I mentioned, has a little protective cap, because inside there holds the second component, which is the catalyst. And we can see what this stuff looks like. You can see that it's got sort of a gelatinous, almost a jello-like consistency. I don't need very much today, so I'm just going to take, maybe a little bit more than a teaspoonful. And I'm going to put it on the back of this squeegee. You can see it's not going to drip. It is a paste consistency. Now I'm going to start mixing in colors, and I'm going to try to make it go from this sort of clear, gooey color to this dark blue color. Well, the predominant color is going to be blue. This is fairly runny. It's lower viscosity than the gel paste. We can take our little mixing stick and start to mix it up here. See, it's a very bright primary blue. One of the keys to remember about gel coat color matching is that the color changes as it cures. And so a really good guy or gal who's doing this will realize that it may go from bright blue to a darker blue, or from a bright blue to a lighter blue. I don't have that much experience with it, so I just have to guess. Now, if you look at the color right there, it doesn't look horrible, but that's where I got all those bright blue stripes in the bottom of the boat, because initially I didn't use any black. Okay, so now let's mix in a little black and see how that looks. Okay, now we need to catalyze this. Now, they say that you need about 4 drops for a teaspoon of gel coat. So I got about a teaspoon, so I'm going to use 4 drops. So this is very low viscosity. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I go back to the same process. Mix, 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 mix. And it's very important to scrape the edges of this so that every bit of the gel coat gets catalyst in it, because if it doesn't, it won't cure. If it doesn't cure, you'll have a big blue gooey mess on the bottom of your boat. Alrighty, I'm going to call that done. We were also doing this on a relatively hot day, so if I'm not careful, I will have this cure before I can actually get it in the syringe. I can do this 2 ways. I can pull the plunger out and pour the gel coat in, or I can try to suck it up through the tip, and that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, so now we're actually ready to do a little filling. What I'm going to do is take a very small bead of the gel coat and squish it in the area between the masking tape, and then I'm going to try to put a squeegee and trowel it into place so it's just the least amount of gel coat possible. So here's our scratch. This gets a little tough because the syringe, yeah, see, the syringe doesn't come out as smoothly as we would like. There we go. There's sort of a temptation to get a little tricky and to want to smooth things out, and you really got to resist that temptation. Now, if I wanted to at this point, I could just leave it like that, let the gel coat cure, and then tear off the tape and so forth. But I'm going to try to flatten it out a little bit, and there are two different ways to do this. One is that I can use a tool to drag it across the top to make it flat and to sort of squish it out on top of the masking tape. The other way is that I could actually lay down a piece of cellophane or wax paper right over the top of it and press it down so that the gel coat is really flat. I'm going to use the squeegee method. Okay, so let's see if we can squeegee this into place. We're taking this nice fresh squeegee which has a very straight edge and just sort of scraping it across. If I use paper towels to wipe off the excess now, it'll keep me from having to use acetone later. There we go. And you can see that I've got a very small amount of gel coat, and I've squished it right between the tape. So the tape is controlling the thickness of how much gel coat is above the surface of the hull. And we can just leave that here, and it's a hot day, so my guess is in about 20 minutes or so, that's going to be completely kicked off. Now I could probably remove the tape at this point. Let's actually try to do that, see if we can do a clean job. This would be easier without gloves, but I know I better use gloves because I'm trying to practice good personal protection. There, just a tiny little strip of gel coat, pretty good color match this time, that is maybe a couple of thousandths of an inch above the surrounding surface, so I won't have to sand it very much.